It's that time again. It's time to remember when. So, it doesn't matter how old you are. I don't even know what to tell you. All I'm saying is this remember when is going to be about, remember when you were a kid and how cool the toys were? How awesome they were? Remember being a kid and you actually played outside, unlike kids today, which there are a few, but you know where I'm going. It wasn't all computerized back then. You had toys and they were awesome and you had games. Remember, you'd meet your buddies, you'd all be riding down to somebody's house, jumping off your bikes, and it would be something would be going on in the backyard. Or you'd have a ball game right out in the street, you know, or you'd all get together and you'd meet at the park. You'd all ride up on your bikes and you were going to have a baseball game or just hang it out or whatever you were going to do. It doesn't even necessarily be about sports. You're just having fun. It's just, you know, you can't forget about this stuff, people. They can take everything away from you, but they can't take your memory away from you. They can try all they want, but they can't. And as long as you remember it and as long as you think about it, you'll feel good. It's funny how toys, you know, no matter how old we get, and I'm speaking, you know, for myself anyway, I can walk somewhere, whether it be like I'm going to a garage sale or a swap meet, or maybe it's even a store, and they've reproduced something to look like it was back in the day, if you understand where I'm going with it, which they very seldom do. But as soon as you see that, you just get so excited. It's like, wow, look at how cool that is compared to most shit that's out there today. I mean, most younger generations, it's a shame, but they're taught on the computer and that's where they're at and that's where it's going to be. And don't get me wrong, there are toys in department stores. I'm not saying there isn't, but they're not like they used to be. Oh man, I played, remember the Matchbox cars and the Hot Wheels cars? Yes, they're still out there, but they're not the same anymore. You know, like, you look at some of the Matchbox cars now. I remember I bought all the cars like the 57 Chevys, the 55s, the Fords, the Coupes, all that. They had normal proportions and all that. Nowadays you go by them and they got these chintzy looking wheels that look like they're running like 20-inch rims like on them, you know, with this little body, if you understand what I'm saying. It's like today's cars that people are building. They're building an old hot rod and they're putting 20-inch rims on it. And the car looks gorgeous and then those wheels just ruin it. They ruin it because it's like a circus fucking wagon, you know? It doesn't look right. They were so cool. I mean, I played with those. I still have mine actually. Remember the Hot Wheels that they made? They were a special edition and they were chrome. There was the 55 Nomad. There was like a 39 or 40 Chevy Coupe and it was chrome. All those ones, I have all those. I got them all stashed away. What about model kits? Remember model kits back in the day? You'd buy them and you could build like 3 different models out of one. And the box alone was cool. What am I talking about? Let me show you. Look at this, for instance. I don't know if you can see that. Here, maybe I'll go this way. The Green Hornet. Look at, you got a couple guys or the girl. It's almost like they're really assembling a real car. They didn't even make, you know what I mean? Like, this is where I started. I started building models as a kid. And I would enter them. Believe it or not, when the P&E car show would go on, they'd have a little place for people to have models. And the Cloverdale Fair, now of course, for you Americans or whoever you are, I'm in Canada, right? So different. But we had a Cloverdale Fair every year, and I'd enter them in there. And I always won second and third place. I think once I got first place. And I would have several model kits that I would buy, and I would buy them just for certain parts out of them for the model I was building. And I had, you know, them plastic things you get in your garage for putting them organizers. I had all them with different wheels, engines, chrome valve covers, all the neat shit. And I'd go to the hobby store and I would buy, they used to have little wee dice and 8 balls. I would buy a little plug that would allow a 9-volt battery to plug in, and I'd buy the little wee lights, and I would run the wiring up to the transmission tunnel underneath. And I'd use that pink putty that you shouldn't use on cars. I would use that pink putty up underneath the floor to cover up where the wires would go, and I'd have all the lights, and I'd plug the 9-volt battery and the lights would work. And I had a little jeweler's saw, and so for the cars that the doors didn't open, I would cut the doors open. I'd go down to the upholstery place. There's always an upholstery place somewhere, and I'd buy old scraps, and I would glue the upholstery on the seats with crazy glue. And I still have these models actually in my basement. I didn't dig them out to show you in the video because as soon as I touch them, they're ready to disintegrate. But I still have them with the ribbons that I won. And I guess that's where I got my custom car thing from. I was always sitting in there at nighttime under a light and during the day building my little models and thinking about it was a real car. That's what got me going. I thought it was a real car, yeah. And I mean, that's what I'm saying about like this. Like, Back then, the kids that couldn't drive these cars that they were seeing, the hot rods and all that, you know, because all the guys who went back in the war, when they came back, they were stripping down cars, and that's where hot rodding started. It's those guys that started it. And for the younger generation back then that couldn't do it, they had models to build, and they made it look realistic for these young guys. Here's even another one. Look at this. 49 Ford Coupe. And you get your different choices how you want to build it. You know, you can build it stock, custom, or competition. I mean, that's just awesome. You know? I don't know. And they give you even, I don't know if you can see that on there, they gave you all the little, they told you. Now, I have to admit, I have noticed, which is another thing we're going to talk about, I have noticed there's some, what are left of hobby stores out there, are now selling, they're getting some of these reproduction models in. So it's coming around again. And what about board games? Nowadays, everyone's all on the internet playing games. There's guys out there that call themselves gamers that get paid to do this shit. It's like guys on TV that get paid to play poker. I think that's fucking ridiculous, and I'm sorry. What a fucking life. Don't tell me you got a job. You're a lazy sack of shit is what you are. But anyway, remember when games weren't about computers? I mean, remember, look at this cool game. Collision. Look at that. Ages 8 to adult, 2 or 4 players. Bump your opponent's cars on the track. You know? See, it was just so cool back then. Don't ever, I know I'm super excited here. That is how you should be. Don't ever let anyone take that away from you. After you're done watching this video, you must somewhere have something stashed away from when you were a kid. Dig it out, look at it, play with it. Don't be ashamed about it. I remember Smash Up Derby. Who remembers Smash Up Derby? You had the cars, and they were all kind of bent and dented up. They were plastic, and you'd pull the ripcord, and they'd hit each other, and you'd put them back together. Mine were plastic, because I'm not that old, where some of the ones way back in the day were metal. Mine were plastic. I used to actually heat them up with a torch and melt them even more to make them look like they had more damage on them. What about this? Here's a game. Look at this one. This Plymouth on the front. Oh, sorry, guys. Test drive. Test driver. That's what we need today. Remember, Lisa just had a rant about women drivers? They need this. Test drive these ladies. And some of us men, though. I'm not knocking all you girls out there. Test driver game at the Chrysler Corporation. So you're test driving at the Chrysler Corporation's ages 7 to adult. Oh, don't ever let it die, guys. Keep the flame going, keep the spark going. You got some kids yourself, maybe you got some grandchildren. Try and show them a little bit of this, or just take them outside and throw a ball with them. Just get them outside. Let them play in the dirt. Let them make mud pies. Let them do whatever. Stop being you have to wash your hands every 2 seconds and do this because you're afraid of germs. Stop that. This is why people get sick nowadays, is because you're so carried away with keeping yourself clean that you don't build an immune system up. It's all good. Let kids be kids, and don't ever let the kid in you disappear. Remember when. Keep it coming. It was just a simpler time in life. These videos could go on forever, but I don't want to go on forever. I'm just trying to touch some key points to get the flame in you guys going. This time it was about toys. Don't ever forget those toys. I can't believe it, but even the hobby stores aren't around much anymore, or at least where I am, they're not. You very seldom see hobby stores. I remember going to the hobby stores. Here we are. I'm going to quickly go again. The hobby stores, you'd walk in, they had a great big train set up. And then they had the race car set up for the kids to play with the race cars. And then the back wall was all the models. And off to the side was all the games. Where's that gone? Oh, man. Remember when, folks? If it brings a tear to your eye, don't be ashamed. Remember when. Okay, until next time, thanks for watching.